So tell us a little bit about that then. So you were on the scene, obviously you're very experienced in what you do, but you were on the scene when Meghan arrived.
Yeah.
And it was kind of exciting, wasn't it,
Oh,
that
yeah,
Harry
yeah.
had got himself a new...
It was great.
we wanted Harry to find love and settle down.
Absolutely, yeah.
But what was the feeling within the media then, with the media pack around 2017? And when you say it was avoidable as well,
I mean, the Megxit and going to California. And I mean, I do believe, as Val Lowe has said, that people bent over back, people within the palaces, were helping and really wanted it to work. The idea that people never wanted it to work, I just find completely bizarre. The atmosphere was really happy and supportive, and everybody likes Harry. And they want him to be happy. We knew he was seriously worried he would never find someone after, previous relationships which had ended, not because, the women the girlfriends didn't like Harry, but they didn't like everything that went with him. He was seriously worried he would never find someone who would put up with all of that. But I think people were delighted. As I say, 95% of the coverage. I mean, there were couple of weird headlines, but not this sort of hatchet job that they sometimes make it out to be. And my memory of the media up to, including the wedding, after the wedding, was very positive, very supportive, covering events, her first walkabouts in the winter of 2018 before the wedding. You could see the demographic change in the people who turned out to see Harry and Meghan. There was a clear transformation there in the people turning out to see them, which was great. It was reflecting, modern Britain, and I mean all of that's been squandered, which is a great shame.
Did you have much interaction with Harry over the years?
No. The quick answer is no. We did get to meet him, and it was great to meet him on certain occasions. I interviewed him 3 times, I think, on various issues. Invictus is 10. I mean, I can't believe Invictus is 10 years ago, 2014, the first one in London. So I got to speak to him then. With his charity in Lesotho, Centre Ballet, which is and it's still going, great charity. That it was great to talk to Harry. A lot of the conversations were sadly off the record, but
You can tell us them now, Simon. You can tell us them now. No, you can't.
I wish that we could, record them, because that's actually with all of them, you get to have a proper chat. For example, after his first tour of duty to Afghanistan, and he was out there for several weeks, and it was actually a foreign website and a foreign newspaper that blew his cover. The British media had this quite controversial gentleman's agreement not to, and the British media honoured that. And I did say to him, I hope you understand, it was the British media did not blow that for you, and he did get that, and it was unfortunate that once the foreign website had done that, he had to come back. So he was furious, but he wasn't furious specifically with us. But obviously the relationship is strained. We all know the backstory. We don't have to go through all of that. And although in his book he does. He clearly believes that the British media never gave them a chance, which I don't understand.
No. Should we talk about the royals that are working or not working in the UK, or the royals that we get to see, quite regularly out on jobs on fixed points and pools that me and you do quite regularly? At the start of the year, I mean, we might have had a conversation. I had conversations with other people saying we need our passports this year. We're going to be travelling all around the world.
Yeah.
The coronation's over. We're going to have William and Catherine are out, and we're looking at all these exciting events. Everything from Trooping the Colour to Chelsea Flower Show to Royal Ascot. These are like garden parties, really exciting events coming up. But we had to rip up our diaries, didn't we, when the King and sadly Princess of Wales fell ill, and then we had cancer. At some stage, the palace are going to have to kind of reintroduce them back into big public engagements. Yeah. I'm excited about that. I think the public are excited about that. How do you think the palace are going to achieve that? And what are their kind of challenges in getting Kate and the King back into public?
Well, the most important thing is doctor's orders, isn't it? And I think the King was hoping he could do more during his cancer treatment, and was probably advised, that you're going to have good weeks and you're going to have bad weeks, and there will be cancellations if you do that. So as we've seen over the last few weeks, he's had small meetings, small engagements at Buckingham Palace usually, where there have been cameras. We saw the audience with the Prime Minister, and hopefully the recovery goes well. May and June are rush hour in the royal calendar, and trooping is, which is the closest thing we have to a national day really. It's the sovereign's birthday parade, known as Trooping the Colour. He was on horseback last year. Perhaps he can attend by carriage this year. Go down to Horse Guards in a carriage. If he doesn't manage to do that, that obviously will be major news. Commonwealth Conference in October in Samoa. He'll desperately want to be there. And if you're in that hemisphere, then you've got to visit Australia and New Zealand as well. So I imagine they're targeting June for Catherine as well. Obviously, completely different. It could be a completely different timescale. But I mean, the picture, if it's possible, of the King and Catherine in a carriage leaving the palace and going down the Mall would say it all, wouldn't it? You wouldn't need a press release after that. So if it's possible, actions speak louder than words. That I'm sure that's what they would hope for. But it will be on doctor's orders, and nobody knows, do they, how people are going to respond to treatment. Every family has been touched by cancer. We've all, unfortunately, we've all seen it, and there are ups and downs. There are good days and bad days.
We've got to be patient, I think, and I think people haven't been patient the last couple of months.
No, I mean, the stuff with Catherine was just weird. And social media I think the last 10 years have rewired people's brains. It has been a tumultuous 10 years, and there's social media. And it's sort of rewired people that, the idea that Kate's gone missing or Kate's disappeared. I mean, absolute nonsense. She was at home recovering. And then on the American talk shows, it got really frenzied. We saw people saying stuff which they have apologised for now, but they should never have said it in the first place. She's a young mum, 3 kids. She's been treated for cancer, which she only found out she had after going in for the surgery in January. Why should they have to? I genuinely don't understand why people have a right to know everything. No. You don't have a right to know everything.
Well, they've dealt with it differently, haven't they? The Princess of Wales is their office, and her and William have been very private, whereas the King's been a little bit more open. He's wanted to be seen. He's wanted people to know about his diagnosis. But I tell you, who's not been missing, and that's Prince William. He was back out this week. I was very fortunate enough to be there. He looked on good form. He looked tanned, actually. He looked almost like he'd been away, or he'd enjoyed some sunshine up in Norfolk. But he looked tanned and relaxed. It was very engagement focused. When you do these jobs and all the questions are specifically about this. It was a food surplus place where they hand out food to local charities and stuff like that. But we were very lucky. There was one woman who gave William a couple of cards, one for the King and one for the Princess of Wales. Have you seen the footage of that?
Yes, we ran it on 5 News, and it's great. And it's very. You see how touched he is when those cards are handed over. And he was on good form, I agree. I mean, when he was in the kitchen chopping, I don't think he does a lot of cooking. I don't think he does a lot of chopping. But anyway, he was chopping celery, wasn't he?
He was worried about his fingers.
He was worried about distributing his fingers. But that charity is absolutely right up his street. The wicked amount of food waste we have in this country. Perfectly good food going to landfill, but thankfully there are charities that step in and make meals out of it and then distribute that. And that was the charity he was at Sunbury. And Feltham, I think, was the youth club he went to.